welcome to One on One on CHCO Television. I'm your host, John Higgins, and I am coming to you from the coolest restaurant that you're going to find around anywhere. I am with the owner and the chef, Lisa Aronson. Good morning, Lisa.
Good morning. Thanks for coming.
Thank you for having us. And also, Zoe is here. Zoe Fitch. Hi, Zoe.
Hi, John.
Zoe is the event coordinator. She also works behind the bar, which she absolutely loves. And she works here in the dining room too, which she absolutely loves.
Love it all.
And she works in the patio, which she absolutely loves.
Love and life.
What can I say?
Really. Lisa, you're the chef.
I am, yes.
And you're the owner.
Yep. Jack of all trades here. Yep.
Yeah. How did you start? How did you get into cooking? How did this come about?
I guess I can go back many years, many years now.
Yeah.
I think it was started off like I just grew up in a household where we always cooked.
Where did you grow up?
Vancouver Island.
On Vancouver Island,
Yeah,
wow.
a little place called Shawnigan Lake. It's very small.
Yeah.
I'd say back in the day it'd be comparable to like St. Andrews without all the shops. Just like it was a little bedroom community for Victoria.
Yeah.
So it was small, quaint, but you know, like both of my grandparents both had orchards and gardens, so we always grew up, you know, with fresh produce and vegetables and canning and making muffins. So I grew up in that environment. I remember like being 2 or 3 and stirring like the muffin mix, right? So it was just very early on in the kitchen, right? So, yeah, I just grew up around it. So
then you just progressed.
Yeah, I figured, you know, if I enjoy doing this, maybe I should do it for a career, you know, because nobody's saying it's like, hey, let's give up nights and weekends, let's open up, you know, our own restaurant. It takes years to get there, but yeah, I wouldn't change it for the world.
Where did you work? Where did you cook? Or chef?
Well, I went to school on the island, and then I went to, I worked out in the Rockies for a bit.
In the Rockies?
Yeah,
Wow.
so I worked out in Kananaskis, and I did my apprenticeship through them, and I went to Calgary and at SAIT and did my apprenticeship there, and then I transferred to the Algonquin, and I was there for 9 years.
In St. Andrews?
Yep.
Perfect.
Because I figured I'd never seen the country, so I was traveling within the hotel, and I thought I'd stay for maybe a year, maybe 2 years most, and then I would leave, and then St. Andrews bubble kind of sucked me in, and then
it can do that, can't it?
I fell in love with the area. I've been here since 2007.
Yeah,
and then opportunity came up for us to open up this restaurant, and we just jumped on it and never looked back, and that was back in 2016.
For heaven's sakes.
Yeah.
So you just, how did this come about? How do you end up owning a restaurant?
Well, sometimes it's just people who you know, right? I was working at the hotel and I wasn't really looking to change it up, and a phone call came in and I went, you know what? I need to go and check this out, and I did. And it was a great time. I met with some people, and then we came down into the building, and this building has so much life in it, and I felt it, the stories and the history, and I'm like, this is where I need to be. I had all the tinglies, and I'm like, this is perfect, right?
Exactly, because this was a train station.
It was a train station, and it was a library, and they had thought about making it town hall after they had moved. But,
yes.
Oh, sorry, before that they had moved, but then some people in town got together and thought it could be a really great restaurant, and then I kind of came into the mix, and it kind of evolved from there.
Yeah. It's got the feel of a restaurant. The outside is as gorgeous as the inside, by the way. The shape, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You gotta love it.
Oh, I do.
Restaurant and brew house.
Yeah, we brew our own beer now.
You brew your own beer.
Yeah,
that is cool.
Yeah, so we were able to acquire the brewing equipment from Picaroons a couple years ago. So we've been making our own brews now on site. We try to have 3 on tap. Yeah.
Isn't that? And I love some of the names.
Our most popular is our Honeydale.
I saw somebody say our Honeydale.
Yes.
Now, Zoe, you have to be from here to know Honeydale.
That's exactly it.
That's the name of a place.
It almost feels like a personality test when you're offering people the options and you say the term Honeydale.
Yeah.
And you can see it in people's faces. I've had some people specifically order it because they say, I grew up in Honeydale, and
exactly.
I need to know what it tastes like.
Who names them? Who comes up with names?
Actually, Sean does.
Sean does.
Yeah, Sean brews our beer. And then we have like our blueberry sour. So it's and we get our blueberries from Penfield, from Hawkins, and
you buy everything local. We
definitely try to.
Yeah.
And it's nice that like our last batch of blueberry beer, because we've been trying to develop it over the years, and I think well, okay, twice. I think now we're up to about 150 pounds of blueberries per batch of blueberry beer that we put in there. So we don't put any additives or any extra flavoring. It's all blueberries that we have.
Who's the taster?
Well, we all are kind of.
I can volunteer for that job.
Yeah. This is amazing. Zoe,
Yes.
here you are.
I've landed here through the wildest circumstances.
Tell me all
I'm so
about
glad
it.
I did.
Tell me all about it.
So I had a kind of an interesting job journey to bring me into service.
Okay.
I started, like most kids who grow up on the East Coast in a small town, I did that thing where
You grew up in St. Stephen.
Yes, born and raised.
Yeah.
I, in fact, have memories of sitting on the floor in here when it was the public library and
Yes.
reading away.
Yeah.
And so it's pretty incredible now to give people experiences on this same floor. I started, I did that thing that most kids around here do where you get out after you've gone through the school system here.
Isn't that true?
And so I moved to Vancouver for 8 years. And while I was there, my first job was doing support work for adults with developmental disabilities.
Oh, okay.
And I had kind of quickly moved into a human resources career from that. And during that transition, I thought it's so funny how these jobs are actually quite similar. It's about memorizing people's idiosyncrasies and figuring out what makes people happy and how they like their things to be arranged. So supporting adults with developmental disabilities, it was more like getting somebody with their bus pass to the swimming lane on time and their Diet Coke at 2:30. But for the lawyer's office I was working for doing human resources, it was like prepping your documents with a staple in a diagonal versus
Really?
very specific sort of preferences. And after the pandemic, I found myself really craving working in person with people.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't want all of my work to be to a screen.
Yep.
I was really craving that human connection, like I think a lot of people were. And the opportunity came up to work with Lisa here at the restaurant, and I jumped at it. And I've been so grateful for the change up in work. It's really gratifying work. I'm on my feet. I'm using my body. I'm using my memory, and it's all around this beautiful experience of local food. So it's been a really inspiring place for me to work.
I bet it has.
Yeah.
It's an inspiring atmosphere. It has an atmosphere all of its own, don't you think?
Absolutely.
Well,
Oh,
yeah,
definitely.
you do, because you took one look at it and said, this is it.
This place gives me the
This building
feels.
is not done telling the stories.
Yeah, exactly
No, it's not
right.
done. There's lots of life left in her, and we don't plan on going anywhere. I mean, the goal is to expand within the space that we have and grow from here. And
And you are the event planner, event coordinator.
That's right.
You've had some past events, success.
Indeed.
Big time.
Indeed.
Right?
One of them being homecoming. I don't know if my pigtails are distracting from this, but I'm trying to advertise.
Good for
for
you.
next year.
Exactly.
For next year.
Yes.
Big time plan for next year for homecoming.
Absolutely.
You got the perfect spot for it.
Absolutely we do. And what really gives us the opportunity to put on something like homecoming, which by the way was a collection of...
It was an event within an event.
Yes.
Because we already had the homecoming, so we were just trying to change it up from doing a beer garden, and how can we be more inclusive within the community? It shouldn't, because it shouldn't just be doing events here. How can we spread it within the town and get more restaurants involved? And next year we want to get more restaurants and longer times, and I'll let Zoe take it from here. But
Oh, beautiful.
Growth is
Yeah.
good.
Growth is good.
You get everybody involved in this.
Well, we would like to, be more community minded. It should be the focus and where we want to go with it, right?
I love that about you.
Because I think we can
You
all.
you don't want to infringe on anybody else.
No.
Your restaurant, their restaurant, right?
Because we have all different kinds of options to have in town. So if we're all fighting, nobody wins. But how can we grow together, right? So maybe doing events like this, we do them once a year. Maybe the dates change. We don't know yet, but we're open to new opportunities. And it's just growth and being part of the community, right?
And historically, during International Festival, the restaurant and Lisa they've hosted a large beer garden, and we'd block off the road, and we'd have a live band.
Right
yeah,
here.
exactly.
We're looking right at the river, and that's another beautiful thing, you know.
It's a wonderful
right
backdrop for the
it's
patio. It's pretty
is it
incredible.
ever? Yeah.
And the event would be so exciting for everybody who got to attend it, and very stressful for those who worked it. I cried. I can confess to that.
It is stressful. It
and
is.
Lisa had the
It's
brilliant.
a little overwhelming at times when you go from doing, I mean, on an average day, we can, we seat about 110 people, right?
Wow.
And we'll flip the dining room 2 or 3 times throughout the day, depending on the day of the week and the time of year, and if we have the patio or not, and the weather is big right for that. But having an excess of about 400 people, it can be overwhelming for people that haven't done it before. Luckily for me, I've been through a couple beer gardens on the courtyard side, so we had upped our numbers, but I was very comfortable with it, whereas Zoe might have been a little gun shy.
I was fresh.
yeah, you were fresh, yeah.
There's another advantage.
But it was good though, right?
It was a great learning experience, and what the idea that it gave Lisa was, instead of holding one large event that's just hosted by the Five Kings, what if instead we turned the pockets and switched it up to be smaller music events in each of the restaurants around town.
Yeah.
So that led to some beautiful sets from local musicians, from Pizza Delight to Carmen's Diner,
Really?
the cafe, and we had bands at Dooley's, and it was just it felt like a really wonderful way to dip our toe into building more food, music, art events that involve the whole community.
And that's what you're doing. By doing that, you're involving everybody. Now everybody's a part of it.
Now we can grow it, so we can take something that we have done on the small scale, and the feedback's been good. From what I hear, people would like to have longer sets and more time, so that's good.
Yeah.
So that means that they had a good time too, and it's ultimately a win-win.
It is for everybody.
It is.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And we have the difference, like you just said, from the Pizza Delight all the way to Carmen's. You're here. We got a variety, haven't we?
We do, yeah.
I mean, exactly.
And we have a variety of musicians. If the East Coast is, known for anything, it's combining music and food, right?
That's exactly
A kitchen party, right?
Exactly.
And kitchen parties.
Yeah, that's our natural state. That's where we all want to be. So why not capitalize on that?
Perfect. Okay, we're going to take a quick break, all right? And then when we come back, we're going to continue more on this exciting journey in which we are on. We'll be right back right after this. Hi, welcome back to One on One. We are at the beautiful, beautiful Five Kings restaurant and Picarone's Brew House. Sorry. And I have with me the two ladies. I have the owner with me, and also I have the coordinator, the event coordinator, which is Zoe. Okay. Zoe, you work behind the bar. You work out here, you work out there. Okay. Can I tell you something, Zoe?
Yeah.
I always wanted to be a bartender.
Me too. And let me tell you, it's everything it's cracked up to be.
It's not everything it's cracked up to be?
It is everything it's cracked up to be.
Yeah.
Even down to some of the most, what might seem to an outsider like mundane tasks, like filling the ice tray or prepping limes for drinks, or starting to memorize the cocktail recipes and starting to remember what people order on a regular basis and being able to surprise them with that knowledge when they come in.
Yeah.
It is that kind of fantasy that I think Cheers gave to me from a young age.
Exactly, yeah.
I have so much fun with it.
But you're a people person too. Talk about a people. You get to sit there,
Yeah, absolutely.
People are actually sitting at the bar.
I love to chat, and I love to do chores at the same time, so it really works well for me.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's been a regular thing that friends will come over to my kitchen and talk to me while I'm making bread or something like that.
Is that right?
So it feels like it's a very natural transition. And the work of the bar is, it's unique from the work on the floor when I'm serving tables, in that I am focused on my one station and making sure that everything is prepped and ready to go for a rush at a moment's notice. And when on the floor, it's a more one-on-one connection with each of the customers. But in an interesting way, I think the one-on-one connections with the customers really led to a lot of the development of what ended up being Homecoming for this first year.
Really?
We had a number of times where someone was in for lunch, and Lisa and I would have just brainstormed up a new event idea, and we'd say, you know who's perfect for that? The person sitting at table 34.
Really?
And we'd go over and make a proposal, and it's amazing what can happen when you come in expecting to just have lunch, but this place has become sort of a meeting center for the community.
It has, yes.
And it's a really typical thing when taking somebody to their table to find that they have to stop to say hello to people at 3 or 4 tables on the way.
Well, you see that.
Yeah,
I mean,
you see that regularly.
Every time you come in, there's somebody here you know.
Exactly.
You know.
Yeah, it feels like a community hub in that way.
It does. It does. And then I like that somebody's sitting over there, they'll come over and, you know, it's
exactly.
Again, you just said it, community feeling. It's a gathering place.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So.
Yeah, and we're excited to develop some more events that will continue to bring people in with that kind of attitude. We're thinking about maybe throughout the winter trying a trivia night, or trying a pub sing where people will come and sing together in this incredibly
beautiful
acoustic,
building.
Yes, incredibly
exactly.
Powerfully acoustic.
Oh, does that ever
building.
sound like a plan, huh?
Right? I think we could sing Hey Jude together and give us all chills.
Do a great job of it.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
And a big part that keeps bringing people in is our incredible menu that changes with every season.
Well, I was just going to say that Lisa,
Yes.
you're the one.
Yeah.
You're the one that comes up with it. You're the one that makes
most of
it.
I do ask my staff for input. You know, it's important to have them involved if they have any ideas or suggestions, or sometimes we'll put it out on social media too to get a feel for what people are looking for. Right now we're finishing up summer, so we'll have a fall menu coming out next month.
And you do the menu.
I will be working on I'm currently working on the menu now. It's not finalized, but we will have a new one coming up, and we tend to change the menu 4 times a year.
Wow.
Sometimes they're bigger changes, sometimes they're smaller changes. The bigger changes happen in the fall and the spring, getting ready for like the summer months, or you know, and then we'll do a couple tweaks over the winter. We like to change it up, so there's something different all the time. Not all the time. Like we do have our few standard items that won't leave the menu, but it's good to have change. I think people get tired of maybe having the same option, so if we can change it up and bring back like a Reuben, or I don't even know top of my head, the Swedish meatball pasta will be coming back, as same with the beef dip Yorkies, but that's probably not till November. But and these are recipes that have come from my family too.
My gosh,
like the
Lisa,
meatball recipe, right? That's my grandfather's, like my dad's.
You're planning all the time.
It never stops, you know. Or if you see something while you're scrolling, you're like, "Ooh, that could be a cool idea." Screenshot and come back to it and leave it maybe for a year or two, or next menu. It's just always kind of there if you're just thinking about stuff. And, changing it up, and it's good.
It would be fun. It looks like you guys are having, the waitresses are fantastic here.
Yeah, I have, the staff they're really great here.
Yeah.
And you know, honestly, they make me look good. It's not all about me. Like, it's all the staff. You know.
Now,
it's a two-way street. It's a two-way street.
You deserve every bit of it. Yeah. I love the energy that you guys have, and that you want to. It's again, location. You're right here, right. We're downtown St. Stephen.
Yeah.
With the most beautiful view out here.
Couldn't ask for a better spot.
The courtyard right here.
Yeah, I would love to be able to do night markets when it's finished next year.
Night markets?
Yeah.
What's that mean?
Doing like, instead of doing a daytime market on Friday, maybe we can do a nighttime market and maybe have a musician, or you know, work it into being more of an event. I mean, not that markets aren't events, but more of an evening event type market.
Yeah.
Bring some people to town, change it up, because I don't think we've done night markets really here before. So there's an opportunity, and to try something new, and then we can get our local artisans and bakers and I'm just
crafts of all kinds.
Artists, like just, people out here having a good time.
That's right.
This town might feel quiet most nights, but there's still life here, and we need to be able to maybe start to bring some of it back at like pre-COVID, right?
Do you feel that the town has changed since you grew up? Like the downtown area? I mean, we didn't have this.
Absolutely.
Did we?
No, and there are things that I think in a typical way you feel nostalgic for from the past.
Yeah.
I loved growing up here when we had a bowling alley and when when it was normal to poke into different businesses that weren't necessarily restaurants, but did have something to, all kinds of different food businesses.
From drugstores to feed stores, to,
and the locally owned grocery stores, smaller markets. There are parts of that era of the town that I do miss. And at the same time, it seems like our development is going in such a great direction.
It's just started, hasn't it?
Absolutely. We're just scratching the surface.
You got the foresight, you got you two girls.
Well, the town does too.
Yes, absolutely.
There's lots of people planning for the future, and that helps too, bringing people.
Is there? I don't.
There's the Future Saving Group, and their goal is to bring to up our population, to bring more people to town.
Yes.
And part of that is bringing businesses as well too. I mean, and the town is also involved in that as well. But I mean, there's definitely growth here.
Yeah. And in the same way that I think we don't see ourselves as being in competition with the other restaurants in town, but more that a rising tide lifts all boats, and we complement each other by our various offerings.
That's exactly.
And our expertise here is giving a memorable experience. That's what we're always striving to do. This is something that Lisa has instilled in all of us. And if that's our focus, then I think we can come along and complement other efforts from the town as well. If we're focusing on experiences and others are focusing on various other aspects of development, I think we can all together weave a beautiful future.
Do you find
for
that the others, I hope they're as enthusiastic as you girls. I think they are.
I think so too. Yeah. I think some people are just maybe a little bit more reserved, but they're excited. How can they not be?
Well,
the town is growing, and we're going to get there. It might take a little time, but good things happen over time too, right?
Exactly. You've done a great job.
Oh, thank you.
And I know you're going to do well because you're planning. Isn't that the big thing about it? You have to plan ahead, don't you? Boys, you have.
Yes, absolutely. And plans change, and that's the other part too. So planning isn't done just once; it's done 3,000 times over, right?
Yeah.
And but we're also in the business of being flexible and accommodating. So that's a good position to come at it from.
Well, the Five Kings restaurant is known, as the place to go.
Thank you.
So perfect job, you guys. You deserve all the praise that you can get. Okay.
Oh, thank you.
Okay, you worked hard. Okay, that's going to do it for us. I'm at the Five Kings restaurant and Picarone's Brew House with Lisa and with Zoe, and this has been great. Thank you so much for having us.
Thanks for coming, John.
Okay.
So lovely.
Okay, that's it. See you next time on One right here on CHCO Television.